Welcome back to Thionite Plays Xenoblade Chronicles 3. On the last episode, we did some side quests revolving around Teach himself and us as teachers. There was a lot of teaching last episode, and on this episode, we are going to continue our trek around Ionios, and we are going to take right off with Gossip in Colony Lambda, because there's always stuff to do. What do you have to say? The autolevs are key to Lambda's defense. Make sure they're ready to deploy at a moment's notice. I know. Sparks, chill out a bit. Yeah, the autolevs are, of course, the biggest defensive measure that Lambda has. Even though they're not fighting anyone. But we're not worried about that. Is there anything else? Oh, there's more gossip. Hopefully some of these lead to quests. So Koji came up with some scheme to mine out more ether. Oh, that sounds like a quest. Just where would we be without Koji? He's always the one who's been putting pressure on Commander Izzard, right? Bountiful Ether. Ooh, that's probably an actual side quest for us. Let me just check over here, because of course there's even more. We've been mining tons of ether out, it seems. Yeah, with all that energy at our disposal, we've got nothing to worry about. If anything, it feels like we have more of it than we know what to do with, but hey, it's better than the alternative. Yeah, having nothing at all is probably, a much more critical and pressing issue than having too much. Because you can always just, stockpile it, I guess. What would you use extra ether for? There's always something to use ether for. Oh my god, there's so much. Hey, by the by, do you know anything about what Varen's working on? Well, I don't, but I hope it's something to stand in for the autolevs, though. Over-reliance on the autolevs is not good. For sure, our defenses could definitely use some shoring up. Or, oh, okay, I thought there was two over there, but there's not. It was just, the other thing. Another bit of gossip. But what if the enemy pushed us back to here in a column formation? Well, that would just result in a deadlock. However, if we hit our soldiers in Lambda's Pharaonis, we'd be able to cause some chaos at the very least. Lambda's excellence. Oh, there's so much to do. Or well, at the very least, there's a lot to talk about. Izzard, are you around? Izzard, what do you have to say? I'm playing as Tyon today, because we've been playing as Mio for the last little bit. The rebuilding's underway, but I'd say there's a lot we can still do to develop Colony Lambda. Do you have any bright ideas for its future, Commander? Well, it would be ideal to have an environment in which each individual can pursue their own targets. I'd like you to see it through to the end if you could. Well, that goes without saying, Commander. That was probably the first time talking to Izzard, based on that affinity that we've got. But apparently we have lots of gossip to talk through, and there's almost certainly going to be one or two quests that come about it, so we are going to probably spend some amount of time in Lambda. Not even including the amount of time we would need to do all of the side quests that we already have, all of those collectathons. Oh, two of them. Alright, well if there's two of them, let's start with the autolevs, and then the excellence, and then do the quests. Say, those autolev magickers are pretty nifty, eh? Colony Lambda was once defeated by Colony 13, owing to their special tactics. Commander Izzard must have been deterred from fighting head-on and requested them from the castle. The autonomous Levnesses, you mean? Yeah. Historically, the colony has performed admirably. That must have contributed to the request being granted. The commander then used the Levnesses and prevailed over Colony 13. And they remained garrison at Lambda. Well, if they work without needing a dedicated pilot, that in itself is already a big help. And now for some reason, they're all down in the tunnels. Well, they do have the advantage of safely operating in places which otherwise would be very dangerous for humans. That's the benefit of autonomous units. You don't have to put your personnel at risk. And if you lose an autolev or two, well, you could just requisition more, because as we have freed the castle, you are more than welcome to just be like, "Oi, Gondor, we need some autolevs over here." And she'd be like, "Why are you asking me to do it? Go talk to the other schmucks." Well then, massive kudos to whoever came up with that idea. Indeed, I'm sure Commander Izzard figured out this particular usage scenario very quickly. Yeah, well, I gotta say I'd prefer to not have to fight him again. Why? We completely destroyed them in the past. There's nothing to be concerned with. Far as I'm concerned, I'd be much happier if those mutters just stuck to mining rocks. Well, as long as in some cases we can get our hands on rocks from the Autolevs, we'll be fine. Because Riku is just like, I would like rocks.
I just wanted to confirm.
Very wonderful, excellent rocks. I heard a lot of the strength of the leadership at Colony Lambda. Care to comment, Tyon? Well, of course. Commander Izzard has collected the creme of the crop. The creme de la creme. Cream of the crop, creme de la creme. It's the best of the best under his command. One of Lambda's biggest achievements was the strategy of constantly shifting formation to befuddle and demoralize their opponents. Well, that would sure take some skill. Formations that maintain cohesion while changing form under precise orders, well, they were said to be virtually unmatched when it came to large-scale engagements. Well, sounds like a far cry from Colony 9, eh? Well, to be fair, we mostly worked in small detachments. I don't remember ever seeing maneuvers on that scale. Wonder how it would have gone if Colony 9 went up against Lambda. I'm guessing it'd have been a bad day out. That's one way to say massacre. Well, allow me to run a simulation. Colony Lambda is putting up a strong defense. Colony 9 tires themselves out on the assault and is encircled by Colony Lambda forces. And once clustered and immobilized, Colony 9 troops are fired upon by Autolevs. All Colony 9 troops are cut down on the spot. Another victory for Commander Izzard. Mate, I think I'm detecting a bit of bias there. Why would Tyon ever have any bias? He worked in Colony Gamma. There's no bias from Tyon in regards to Lambda, and anyone or anything that would say otherwise is a bold-faced lie. How are they doing it? If they have a lot of ether, getting a line in on their supplies might also be prudent for our logistical knowledge, because we do still have those Colony Iota supplies to give out. And it looks like it might be going to a Colony Gamma, if anything. I've already... well, we'll have to probably look back at the footage, because I've already forgotten. They say Colony Lambda's been raking in the ether lately. Yeah, some bloke called Koji's meant to be behind it all. Well, he seems to have been pressured by the commander personally. No, reverse that statement. He seems to have Okay, the brain needs to reset early on in the video, apparently. He seems to have pressured the commander personally, which does sound like Koji. They've always had some ether, I thought. They mined it, didn't they? They're saying that there's huge amounts of it now. It takes some skill to produce such results in that length of time. Accomplishing something like that in Colony Lambda, that's no small feat, based on where their Pharaonis is and, the position of the colony itself. They're under a waterfall. It's not the best place to get ether. There are so many colonies that never have enough ether, and here's Colony Lambda just sitting on a hoard of it. They're saying they have too much even. Can't they share some with the other colonies? Yeah, what's stopping them? How about we ask them for ourselves? Well, I'm curious too. Let's go find out. Yeah, if they have a surplus, maybe we could get some Colony Lambda supplies to share out with people. And then how are they doing on the defenses? Because apparently they need some shoring up. Seems like a bloke named Varen's working on some kind of prototype. Yeah, and everyone's hoping it'll help boost Lambda's defense. I wonder what it could be. Surely not a new type of Autolev. Well, why don't we just nip along and have a gander? We've got to have some stake in this, right? Well, yeah, I'd say so. Lambda's defense concerns us, too. The status of every colony concerns us, because without us and our intervention, they wouldn't, be free to have defenses to worry about. They'd just be continually trying to fill their flame clock, and it would be sad for everyone, because we would have to kill them, because they would be forced to kill us. But considering we've freed half of the world, we should be... Well, half of the castle. Agnes Castle is under our control, so we shouldn't have much to contend with in terms of the Agnian colonies at the very least. Although it raises an interesting question, I suppose. Even if we freed the Agnian castle, would the colonies that we haven't freed still be under the yoke of the flame clock, as it were? Because unless it was like a central hive mind brain system type scenario, then all of the colonies should have been freed at once. But I don't think that's the case. I think they're all on their own separate clock, as it were. Anyway, ponder later. Talk to Koji now. Hey, what can I do for you all? We heard you're doing well for ether at the moment. Do you have any idea how you're going to use it? Ah, you want to know? Well, yeah, we're sitting on more ether than we can collect. The work's been going better than we could have ever imagined since we've perfected the ether probe. Ah, that must have greatly improved the efficiency of your mining operations. Well, me and Varen are the minds behind it. We wanted a more effective way to get the ether channels. Get them out of the rocks and into our pockets. Right into our cylinders. It's done wonders for our ether stocks, but yeah, lately it's been a bit excessive. What a problem to have, right? We have so much ether, how awful. Well, if you've got too much, why not just use it? Alright, well let's think about this. Got any good ideas on what we could put it to use for? Share it freely amongst the colonies, and I'm not sure how well they'd respond to free handouts. Donate it to other colonies. That's more, quid pro quo. You know, like a you scratch my back, I scratch your type of situation. Give it to whoever wants it mode. That's just out of it. I think a fair exchange of goods and services or promises, you know, debts, would be the most prudent when it comes to the colonies in the current situation of Ionios. Not sure we can just give it away for free. I made a similar suggestion, but the sergeant shot it right down. Well, I didn't... What was the difference? But you make it sound like the first two are the same options, essentially. I'll see what you have to say. She's not cruel, but she's very by the book, shall we say. Alright, let's think about this. Any good ideas? Oh, well, if you're gonna do it that way. I apparently was making the wrong choice. Alright, well, share it freely. I'm kind of curious, if donated to colonies in need is essentially give it away for free, what is share it freely amongst the colonies going to result in? I suggested that, but it was rejected. It doesn't benefit us. Tolgrim from the survey branch is pretty stubborn about this stuff, so there's not much way around it. Alright, let's think about... Well, that was like the same response for two different prompts. You could have curried favors if you donated. Fine, whoever just wants it the most then, just give it to whoever's like, oh, I want it. It's like, it's not even based on whoever needs it. It's just, oh, it's like, oh, I want it. We can use it. Unless we got some kind of compensation, we'd never get Tolgrim on board, not to mention captains like Sif. If we can hammer out more concrete criteria and narrow down the possible recipient colonies, then maybe. Well, this is what I suggested with, you know, donating it and like giving it to whoever needs it. But apparently just give it to whoever wants it is the same thing. We really can't be sitting on this ether surplus like you said. It's a difficult problem, certainly. How about narrowing it down to a nearby colony? Well, Colony Tau could probably use the ether, given the fact that they are usually struggling with stuff like food, not Colony 4. It's why the brain made that connection. Colony 4, they're not that close. They're on the other side of the Orion Mountains, and they're not doing terrible. Colony 30 is in the same boat. If they can afford to build something like Doric, there's no way they need ether. Give it to Tau. Colony Tau, plus the other two are Kavesi, and this one is Agni, and it might help smooth things over in the short term. We won't get anything good out of trading with them. No good. Well, you know, fine. Colony 4, they've got... No, Colony 30, they got the Doric supplies, I guess. I'm making all of the wrong choices. They could probably pay us back for ether and Levnis tech. Mate, you're never going to shift that ether at this rate. You need solid justifications if you want to get approval and convince the top brass to back you up. If it's not a colony like 30, which can pay us back in time, we're just not going to get the okay. What another faff. I agree with Uni. All of this is just a waste of our time. I agree. Ideally, I'd like to be able to distribute it more widely. But that's not really my job, and without any other bright ideas, I think we'll have to settle for this one. Yeah, I'm the same way. If you can get your ether's worth, they'll agree to the plan, yeah? What are you thinking there, Tyon? Sell it directly? Sell it through the Nopon? I think if we sell it through an intermediary, although the last two prompts have been completely out the window, and I'm apparently an idiot when it comes to this tactical stuff. So maybe just give it free, because, you know, it's like, why would we need to get our money's worth? No, just go through an intermediary. That way everyone benefits and there's less, you know, prickliness between Agnes and Keves. Go through the Nopon. There's only one way to ensure that you get a fair price and avoid incurring extra work on your side. And that is the Nopon who travel with the caravans. You sell through them. There's always a demand for ether. Trading it in should net plenty of profit. And you have the added benefit of utilizing the Nopon trade routes. Colonies suffering from ether shortages are sure to be somewhere on their itinerary. Oh yeah! Talk to the Nopon. I'm sure they'll be happy to buy from you. They won't have any trouble selling it. Well, that's a great idea. We should do that. This way, Lambda gets to sell its ether, and ether-starved colonies get to buy it from the Nopon. But you're going to need to get some kind of approval for it, aren't you? Well, yeah. I'll put the request in then. What, just like that? Well, it's better to get the ball rolling straight away. First, we have to open talks with the Nopon, and the merchants, preferably. Well, we can take care of that if you want. Oh, would you? Would I? Of course, it's no trouble at all. There's a Nopon trader near the entrance of the colony. Thanks for that.
So that's the state of affairs?
Yeah, the state of affairs is everyone has ether, and apparently we're going to sell it through the Nopon. Because selling it directly would just incur a lot of extra steps for Lambda, because they would have to travel through the mountains, and it would just not be a good time. If anything goes wrong, everything explodes. Merchant, what's going on? Why everyone gather all together? There's something we'd like you to consider purchasing. Meh? And what that? Colony Lambda's surplus ether. Specifically, we'd like you to buy ether from Colony Lambda that they can't use and sell it to the other colonies. Intriguing. Ether supply of Colony Lambda. Lambda? Very ample. Nopons, man, they really deteriorate the language skills. But it decision of Zoka, so you ask Zoka. Zoka settling accounts in area at moment. Zoka will be around ruins of Cebu on Urian Trail. She'd decide whether purchase is go-go or no-go. Okay, we'll ask. Well, the ruins of Cebu Trail, or the Orion Tunnels or wherever, that is still in Cadencia. No, it isn't, because Colony Lambda is technically its own map, because why would it be anything else? So if you remember, this is where, it's in the Pentelis region. It's way over here. We can skip travel right over there. It's right by where, the Orion capital is. Oh my gosh, I forgot its name. What is its name? Uriah's capital city of... Drawing blanks. It'll come to me when I'm least expecting it. Zoka. Welcome, welcome. Is something you want? No, we'd like to discuss a possible business deal with you, actually. Zoka much happy to talk business deal, so what friends bring for Zoka to sell? The deal concerns Colony Lambda's ether supply. Zoka see now. We'd like you to take it as far as possible, to as many other colonies as possible. Well, that okay with friends? Sell price may be higher if friends keep ether to selves. A lot of colonies are in need, so we'd like to entrust it to your best caravan. Ah, Zoka get just now. Is true that Zoka network of associates spread to many colony. It's not much work if friends only want to sell ether. Much appreciated. Now, as to the specifics. Zoka leave details and price naming to Specky friend. Are you sure that's fair? Zoka happy to buy at asking price of friends. Zoka love nothing more in world than to sell ether. Well, if you're okay with that, we'd be very grateful. It is most funnest thing for Zoka to sell ether in many place. We're in your debt. Koji will be able to discuss the finer details of the deal with you. Okay, Zoka go then later. We'll go and report back then. Reporting back. Fonzamaima. That's the name of the... See, it just came to me. I had to stop thinking about it for a moment, and it came to me. That's the gate of Fonzamaima. We have to go back to Koji, so that will... We have to deliver the good news that you can set whatever price you want. Please, Koji, don't take advantage. We'll tell this to his face. We'll tell this to his face. Alright, Koji, I got the deal secured. All you have to do is name your price, but please don't take advantage of the Nopon. We want this to work out well, so just name a fair price and we'll be fine. I did manage to talk to them. It looks like Zoka's all for it. Great news, thanks. I'm always amazed at how quickly the Nopon caravans can make decisions. Considering we had to trudge all the way to speak to their boss, it wasn't all that quick, really. No, that's still faster than anything that gets done in Colony Lambda. We're not at war anymore. We need to take care of our allies from now on. We can't keep doing things this way. Yeah, I don't know. Lambda has to change, and that time is rapidly approaching. Living like this, tangled up in rules and bureaucracy, it's just not sustainable. One thing at a time, Koji. Yeah, sorry. Just thanks. Anyway. I'll get the ether sorted out as fast as I can. That is lovely. A little quest that we could just do super easy and only by talking to people. Incredible. There is another quest. Oh, Shijima, our Offseer, with your really weird ensemble. I don't know what that loopy thing around your neck is. How are you now? Passable, I guess. But I'm feeling pretty okay. You've cheered me right up as it is. The time I have left now may be limited, but you know what? Stuff it. I've resolved to do everything I can to live life to the full now. Thank you. Fullest. Full now. I would say fullest. Doesn't matter. My grasp on the English language is non-existent. There is another quest that we needed to do. What and where is it? Not over there. It is not Caressian. New developments? New developments. That is the one. Where are we going? Oh, out front. Right, of course. The one who actually talked and mentioned the Autolevs. Of course, they would be the one. Varin, I've heard tales of your Autolev proficiency. Have you come to have a nose around this as well? What are you talking about? Back up. Give us the details. We are very detail-oriented folk. So you didn't come to look at the sensor I developed. Well, what does it do exactly? Well, it reacts to enemy signatures. If they ever, sign their name on some formal or even informal documents, we are the first ones to know. If a Ropal buys a house, we are the first to know, and we can raid that Ropal's fridge for all of their apple juice. I don't know. What kind of juice would a Ropal drink? This little thing's indispensable for putting on a nice show of defensive power without having to rely on Autolevs. It enables you to spot enemies without expanding manpower. Very clever. It's also very good for locating specific types of juices that the various enemies of Ionios like. I really want to get them installed all over the place. You have no idea how hard it is to find orange juice without the pulp in Ionios. Like, normally the best you can find is just like an orange and squeeze everything out, and like you have orange juice technically, but it's like it's full of pulp and it's terrible. It's like who would even want that? I don't suppose you guys would be willing to help. Well, us? Yeah, who else is here and offering? Are we sure you can touch them? You won't think we're enemies? We've had problems with that in the past, especially with the Autolevs of Colony Lambda. No need to worry about that. They can tell the difference. So it's a bit like Kitty's Autolev, yeah? Yeah, go on then. We'll help you out. Great. So the first installation needs to be done on the old Cliffside Way. Shall we? We shall. Where is that, I wonder? It's 700 meters in another direction. Is that an area that we can easily get to? Well, it could be if we could just get out of Colony Lambda without going to a separate menu, because that would just be royally inconvenient. Much better. Where are we going? Over here. I'm pretty sure we actually... Is this... Right, this is right out where we, did that quest for... Doran and Bam Bam with the Plumbus. This is where we made our Plumbus, our fortune in Plumbus juice. Plumbus juice is another thing that they were detecting, and this is why we're putting one over here. There aren't actually many roads between Colony Lambda and Mac the Wildwood, which means that if we don't get people out here in the event of an attack, we're in serious trouble. Yeah, you need to fortify this point. If anything were to come through here, you'd have a problem. Right, so let's install one of the sensors around here then. All of the Plumbus juice, that's what we desire. All of the sensors! Lovely sensors. No sign of any enemies right now. Let's move on to the next. Next port of call is the Orion Tunnels. Why couldn't you just give us that task when we were already over by the Orion Tunnels? It's like we have to make another round trip. It's 1,200 meters away. Well, that's fine, that's fine. Oh, do we have an easier skip travel point? Actually... The best one to do is the one in the Mima Gate, because that will allow us to just go through. Because you might think it would be easier to go through the actual cave itself, but shockingly, it would be a pain in the rear end if you tried. So I'm just going to quickly and easily. Maybe we should figure out a way to just close these gates instead of putting probes. Maybe just make a system to close the gates, because I have a feeling the tiny pepitos would not be able to open a 4-foot thick metal door. Although they might be able to burrow around it. Although there is a metal floor, they wouldn't be able to burrow through metal. It would have to be a really strong pepito to burrow through metal. This looks like another place where enemy soldiers would like. Installing it right inside the tunnels might not be the best idea. Agreed. It would be more beneficial here, where Lambda could reach it at a moment's notice. Around here, yeah? Yeah, you wouldn't want to put them in the tunnels because it would get really, well, everywhere. But in here, it'd be great. And that's all in place. Is there anywhere else you want to put one? Let me see. Hold up, isn't there a waterway around here? Well, there is, but why do you ask? Well, it's just that we came out from over there, so what's to stop your enemies from doing the same? Yeah, good point. Let's go and put one over there too as well. Alright. Sounds like a plan. I wonder, can we just, are we going back outside? Oh, I think we have to go right, because this is, if you remember, yeah, we're going back outside. Can we go an easier way? If you remember, this is the area, yeah, we can just skip travel right over there. This is let's try again for the third time to say this sentence. This is where we came out when we originally had to, find Colony Lambda. Before we fought Yorin the first time, so that's definitely where we're going to put one. We're going to put it right here. Yeah, here should be okay. Well, if they come via the waterways, it's better to focus on the shoals rather than where the water's deepest. In which case, this looks like a suitable place. There are autolevs nearby as well. Yeah, this seems like a no-brainer. And lo, our tactician has spoken. The word of Tyon himself will turn this into reality. What? Surely this is blindingly obvious, even for someone like you, Uni. Oi, what do you mean by someone like me? Nothing, nothing. It's decided. Here it shall go. And go it shall hear. It shall hear all of the things. And that's all of them. We only had 3. Now you just need to keep an eye on them regularly. Right. Colony Lambda's invested so much in its defenses that... Huh? Got a message coming in. Hold that thought, Noah. Yeah, I hear ya. And that's on the old Cliffside Way? What's happened? Just a little wrinkle. They want to meet me... They want me up at the old Cliffside. I threw in an extra word that's not needed. Well, is the sensor okay? Not sure. That's what I'm hoping to find out. We'll go with you. We've come this far already. Well, I'm glad to hear it. We just came from over there. How could something have gone wrong so quickly? Well, at the very least, we have the skip travel points, and it's not in any way, shape, or form a tedious thing for you or for me. For Noah and the gang, they have to trudge all around in one giant circuitous route all around Mac the Wildwood and surrounding areas. But for us, no trouble at all. What seems to be the problem? Is it just like a crust dip or a Crabble that threw everything out of whack? No, it's an extra person. Sarge? It's Tanya. Did you install this? Yeah. I'm sure you're aware, but Sergeant Tanya heads an assault troop. They're the best of the best. You cannot put these things up without the requisite approval from the top. I'm sorry about this, but you're going to have to take them all down. What? I refuse. You can go take them down yourself. They're already up. It would be more effort to take them down than it would be to just leave it and deal with the red tape. You engineers are always disrupting the system because you can just go on ahead and do whatever you please without ever asking. You don't get to get special treatment, you hear? All requests must be made through proper channels. Can I just call Izzard? Because I have that capability. I could just call him and be like, yo, is this good? And he'll be like, yo, it's good. We can just overlook it. Well, I guess. What, you're just gonna back down? You're gonna let her talk to you like that? You're gonna let her walk all over you? It's like, I don't mean to, but she's a stickler for the rules. And she doesn't get on with our engineering crew because we work outside those rules. Well, if you work outside the rules, then don't listen to her. That's like, what is she gonna do? Tear them down herself? If we suffer an attack because of a lack of sensors, then we can just be like, that's Tanya's fault. We don't have to worry because it's like the burden of culpability, Tanya. She won't listen to me no matter what I say. Well, can we just, like, ignore her? But someday Lambda might be glad to have these sensors. Oh, they're useful. I fully agree. And that's exactly why you need to get proper approvals. Oh my gosh, another guy, Rosh. Rosh, are you in a rush to clear up that Rash? Hey, hold on a minute now, Tanya. Don't talk about my rash. Captain, is there anything I can do for you? Just got word from Izzard. He said to leave the doohickeys up. Captain Ross supervises the troops. Sergeant Tanya reports into him. Oh, the chain of command. We've got 3 layers. A request just came down from the engineers. You weren't around, so I proved it in your place. Well, if that's your decision, then of course I shan't be the one to gainsay. I'm just trying to make your life easier. Your love of the job is admirable, but being too rigid is a problem of its own. Captain, you're too soft. If you can't keep the soldiers disciplined, then... My word is final. I am the boss, after all. Got word from Izzard himself. Teach can show you the proper way to do proper protocols, because Gamma's doing quite well for themselves. Anyway, everyone's ticked the right boxes and got the right stamps, and the red tape has now been painted green, so we can all go home. Thanks for that, Captain. Captain, I'm not done yet. I asked that you stay behind. Ugh. Oof. I think you're taking this a touch too seriously.
So that's the state of affairs.
Wait, we have to do more? What else do we have to do? We have to go talk to Varen. Well, where did he go? Why did he go all the way back to the colony? Why couldn't we just have a chat here? Alright, fine. Back to the colony, because if it's not one thing, it's another. Wait, I have to go into the other menu to get back to Lambda, because it's a pain in the rear end. Because it's just in a wrong location. Is this quick? Or is this quick, or do I have to cut it out? Because, you know, realistically, I would expect it to be quick. It's relatively quick. Alright, well, you're right in front of us. Why couldn't you just wait for us? Talk on the way back. Guess it doesn't matter. Sorry about all that. Didn't mean to get you caught up in that as well. If the captain hadn't come along at just that moment, the whole project would have been torn down. Well, that's what happens when you don't get your forms in on time, I guess. Even things that the colony needs to have to go through proper channels, eh? Colony Lambda's ability to enforce order through its regulations has always been one of its strong points. Not necessarily the most efficient of points, but a strong point. Yet somewhere along the way it became bogged down in needless protocols. I mean, I get why they'd have this approval system. It makes it easy to know who's responsible for what. Well, that sort of leadership can even stand against silver colonies in wartime. But now that they've been released from any need to fight, those regulations become shackles, confusing everyone. Colony Lambda is standing at a crossroads right now. Should they change or not? They absolutely should. It would make everything more efficient. Because any kind of elimination of circuitous, redundant, needless traversal of the world is, you know, much better in my eyes. Ooh, we got an affinity increase. Let's go check out that reward. We got Shiny Hunter. I don't know what that does for us. Izzard, we don't care about that. So Colony Lambda looks to be doing rather well for itself, all things considered. They got a surplus of ether, they've got trading, a system of trade going up through with the Nopons and the other colonies. I don't think they are in desperate need of iota supplies. Let's go check out Tau. They're actually probably going to need iota supplies. Because Colony Tau has never struck me as the most efficient of colonies to go through, growing their own food and all that, out of the way, in an alcove. Either way, I suppose we'll see. It should be easy enough to check it out. Colony Tau is a rather small colony, so we should be able to get some gossip, maybe start a side quest or two, because we still do have a bunch of side quests from, Caressia finds her calling and all that, so I don't think we actually have a lot to do in Tau. It depends on how many supplies... Lieutenant, Rain, how is your supply stuff doing? So I'm hearing there's some monster in the forest that doesn't belong. I have to say I'm curious. You're familiar with all the monsters that inhabit the area then? Naturally. Hunting is how we live after all. Well, if you guys are doing well on your hunts, let me talk to Juniper. See, Juniper, is everything going well in terms of supplies? It's just in dribs and drabs, but my friends are starting to come back. The faces of the folks that made it back seem a little different, don't you think? Ha, yeah, you may be right. Toughened up somehow, I'd say. Well, it looks like everyone's doing well. Honorine, how are the smokers doing? I admit it, I was wrong. Nopon engineering is the real deal. I'll see to it that the things I learned in Colony 30 will really put Tau on the map.
Rain, snuffing great.
What are you talking about? Lance, what's snuffing great? The Nopon engineering? You didn't have to sound so sarcastic. No more flying off the handle and Nop on then? Oh, no worries on that front. We're all perfectly harmonious. As long as they can build smokers, we're good. At first, we hurt and offended by accusation of good for nothing, but they're actually big smidgen of truth in. But we make great bounce back with completion of smoker and can now shout loud and proud, pleased to fill tummies to bursting. Well, the Sadadan brothers are doing rather well from themselves, and it looks like everyone else is doing rather well from themselves. So apparently we just have a bunch of side quests to do that we've already gotten. But while we're here, there is an area that I would like to get up to. As you saw, that little tree route it's something you can climb up, and you can actually get to the top of the Faranis. You can get to the Faranis head, and I do want to continue a little bit past the Faranis itself, because there is an area over here that would be beneficial to at least know it exists. I want to make a quick note in the video itself, as well as get this skip travel point, the Colony Tower Watchtower, also good to have, because this is where a container is. I don't think there's anything important in the container. Might just be some gemstones, some money, and some burned rice sugar. I'm not sure how efficient that will be or how useful, but it's something to be aware of. There's also some parts over here that might be helpful in the future. Projectiblades. I don't think any of them. But there is also an elevator over here. Cross Mactha elevator. Can we activate this? I don't believe we can activate this at this point. Doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, that is definitely want to make note that that elevator exists. It'll be helpful. I think it's for a quest later on, but I didn't just imagine a person here, right? It's like they didn't just up and... Can I time travel to... Can I... Back in time, please? Okay, yeah, Guillaume. Why is the camera weird? Why did the camera change? The camera should not... Can we... I'll focus on that later. Guillaume, everything went crazy there for a second. Sometimes you can hear the sounds of battle over the mountain path. I doubt it'll ever encroach as far as here, though. It pays to be cautious, though, don't you think? There aren't many of us, so frontal assaults are a no-go. We have our own ways of doing things. Well, yeah, you would need to, because, Colony Tower is not the most battle-hardened of places. Ooh, over here. More parts, and then, this. I believe this is what's going to allow us to get that treasure chest. Can we just skip this, please? We've seen them shoot the harpoons. We're hunting our white whales. No, this is just another quick way over here. So if you need a quick way back, this is a decent thing to do. Ooh, things I want to get. I want to get those 3 because that'll be helpful to us. But I think it's about time to wrap this particular episode up. We did all of the stuff in Colony Lambda that we needed to do, as well as some stuff in... Well, we actually didn't do anything in Colony Tau, but, you know, we've ensured that we don't need to do anything extra in Tau. That we have everything that we already need to do. So that's some more green nectarines. We definitely need all of the green nectarines we can manage. So on the next episode, I probably should figure something out, because that's what we need to do. So we've figured out everything going on in Pentalus. So what's next? Cirrus Hovering Wreaths. That would mean Colony 11. I think we've already done Colony 11, but it doesn't hurt to go check out on the supplies front. And then one last trip through Cadencia, I suppose? What is this? Oh, the sandbar. Right, there might be other things to do. But there are no colonies in Cadencia. Well, there's Colony Mu. And Colony... Triton's Colony. I forget the name, or, well, the number of Triton's Colony, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for us. But then there's also the castle. Yeah, I think it would be prudent to go check out, in the next episode, Colony 11, and then the castle, and then the city. And if there's nothing in those 3 locations, then I suppose we can continue with, maybe some Ascension quests. You thought I was going to say main quest? No. We really need to do the Ascension quests. Maybe in the next episode, if nothing comes of anything that we need to go places, we'll do an Ascension quest. So whether you guys watched for 30 seconds or the entire thing, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you in the next episode. Later.